Hey Alia, I'm Rianella and you're watching Reese, where we have conversations that matter with people who care. Today, I'm joined by the lovely couple, Christopher Buffong and his wife, Sally Bharath Buffong. And we're gonna help you guys. I know everybody tries to set intentions for the new year, and we all know that by February we fail. That's not everybody, but a lot of us. So today, Dr. Buffong and his wife are gonna help us work out strategies to try and stick to those plans that we made for ourselves in 2021 and tell us a little bit more about themselves and their business. So first of all, let's give a warm welcome to Christopher and Sally Bharath. Yeah?
Hey Rion. I know I call you Ryan. Rion, how you going? Rion, I didn't see you so long. It's like almost 2 years. Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you. Almost 3 years.
And this is from I used to see you almost every day, yeah? This is I used to see you almost
Correct.
every day.
We went to school together, so it's been quite a long while.
Can I bust a file in front of Sally and the audience?
Of course.
Okay, can we talk? Yes. I mean, real talk? Yes. You know...
Fine, that's no problem.
Because once upon a time, Sally, when we were in UV, in my apartment, Chris used to sleep by me like he used to study, and tonight he used to conk out on the couch right there. You know, so I have gone from having Chris sleep over to not seeing him in 3 years.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, so it's good to see you.
I've heard so much about you, and I love your entrepreneurial intent.
Yes,
from school. Since school, I've heard all about the UE, Reesties, and now this. So wow!
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Big, and you made your dreams become a reality.
Big.
I try. And I think a big part of that, I would say, it is always good when you have supportive friends like Chris and others who let you know that as much as the dreams might seem like big to other people, that they are still like doable and achievable. And that's also something that I admired with Chris, because when we were in school, he used to juggle running his own business and being in medical school as well, despite naysayers. So I think, and that's probably one of the reasons why we ended up becoming such good friends, if you have to think about it. We can jump right into the first question with that in mind, which is one of the businesses that you do have is Stratosa, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What services do you guys provide at Stratosa?
Well, we provide a plethora of services, from personal coaching, leadership coaching, business coaching, personal growth and development training, team building activities for organizations, to psychologists that work with the company, and we also offer medical services as well. So it's quite a number of services that we offer at Stratosa.
Sorry, Chris, you're going to say something?
Yeah, what I was going to say is that, you know, in all of what we do, we try to basically help individuals to live happy and healthier lives.
I love that. And if I may, with you, with your medical background, I assume like Sally's the happy and you're the healthy?
Well, actually, it's a bit of both, right? It really is a bit of both, you know. For example, for me, you know, somebody might say, oh, well, you know, a doctor, you know, he healthy and all these different things. I think a lot of us, even though on the physical framework we may look a certain way, mentally, you know, we may not always be there, and we take for granted the mental aspect of health and how that ends up manifesting physically. You know, it goes both ways, so it's a bit of both.
I think, like, interestingly enough, there was an interview I was supposed to do today with my cousin, who's also a doctor, and she was saying, she was just talking about, we rescheduled because she was tired, and she was saying like she was having what we refer to as burnout, and it's just like, this is such a very, very real thing that I think a lot of people do not comprehend, like how much of a toll it can take on your mental. So I agree 100%. Now, for those who are listening and may not know, what is a leadership consultant?
Well, a leadership consultant works with organizations to help leaders identify what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and how to really develop their team. But for Stratosa, we really focus on individuals, and you just mentioned burnout. We work a lot with persons who suffer from burnout, depression, anxiety, hit rock bottom, you know. So So it goes beyond just leadership.
And who normally seeks your services?
Well, we have a number of persons that seek our services. We have had doctors, we have had pilots, engineers. Just to put it into different bucket lists, we have persons who suffer again from mental problems. If we are looking at employee assistance programs, we have organizations. We have persons who have had relationship problems that come for consultations. We have had persons who want to put their career or have a transition from where they are to something new.
People who want to start side hustles. If you want to put it that way, people who want to transition.
We have persons who have just hit the bottom and don't know where to turn, what next to do. We have persons who want to develop their personal leadership style, develop themselves holistically. So yeah, it's to really say who comes. It's really people who are very intentional about their growth and development.
Can I say something as well? Yeah, it's really people who interested in growing themselves. I think surprisingly enough, there has been quite a number of individuals who, it's like, they had an idea to maybe what is that they wanted to do with their life. And for somewhere along the line, time had passed, and maybe they're not really where they thought they would have been by that specific age. It could be any age, and the stress of the expectations, their perception of failure has caused them to really feel sad for themselves and beat up themselves, and it really filtrates so many different aspects of their lives, their family life, their marital relationships, their work relationships. They really feel as though they feel really stuck. They really want to increase level of self-awareness so that they can learn how to make more informed decisions for themselves to move forward in the direction that they would like to live. A lot of people, surprisingly enough, they're still moving off of what he might say or what she might say or what.
Listen to me.
Limited beliefs. What my parents think I should be doing in my life, what my wife think I should be doing in my life, what my husband think I should be doing in my life. And some people, they're just in a place where, just want to be able to empower themselves to move forward so that they are happy. They are more happy with their decisions,
It also have persons who are single.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming back to relationship issues, though, we also work with clients who think something is wrong with themselves. What's wrong with me? I can't find my husband.
Can't find a man.
No.
How to find a man.
Yes.
And by working with them to help them boost their self-esteem, they eventually also...
Well, I'm not a magician, but I can help them.
Understood. But it's a good place to start.
Yes.
I think a big part what you have to do too as well is the communication skills, right?
Yes. Because
some people, the low self-esteem, it manifests in the way how they communicate. They don't always say what they really want to say, and they tend to be manipulated in a sense by people in ways and means that they just don't know how to say no. They don't know how to really, navigate certain conversations to get where they
I agree.
want to.
And I think they also shrink themselves in situations where they might be like called upon to express themselves or assert their boundaries. They shy away from those situations and thus get taken advantage of.
I think also personality plays a great part in it. I'm also behavioral analyst. So a lot of the times when clients come to me, one of the first things before we start coaching is having them do a personality assessment. And with that personality assessment, it can help them in their organization with their partners, with their husbands, their boyfriend, girlfriend, move forward, because they're able to really understand what their limiting beliefs are, what their strengths are, the reason why they react the way how they react, So, yeah.
Absolutely. If somebody wanted to get, not to give away your trade secrets, but if somebody wanted to get into your line of work, what advice would you give to them?
Well, first thing I would ask them is what is their passion? Because a lot of times, sometimes big names send shockwaves to people. They get excited. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be. But then when you actually go down that path, you realize that's not my passion. I'm not a people person. I don't want to speak to people every day. So the first thing is understanding what is your passion. Is this something that you really, really want to do? Are you willing to go the whole 9 yards? Because in business, being an entrepreneur or even being a people person, you will have the ups and downs. This is something that you want to do.
Absolutely. I think one thing that I love about like a lot of the advice that people have given on this show thus far is as much as I might ask if any given piece of advice is applicable to their particular niche,
Right.
very often the advice can apply to other aspects in life. And I think what you just did there isn't just for somebody who wants to get into your line of work, but anything in life. I agree with you 100%. I think whatever you're getting yourself involved in, leadership, coaching, or anything else, I think having the underlying passion and having the underlying desire to actually be there is so important. Very often you go into certain situations and you can tell that the person that you're dealing with at that particular workplace just does not want to be there.
No, well, I didn't really want to be here, so I was made to be here. So obviously I'm just like wanting to get this over with and get on with my life. This is a big inconvenience for me.
You know, they aren't a people person. This isn't what they want to do with their life. And I can understand that you have to make ends meet, but there are times you can just tell, you don't want to be here at all. And secondary to you not wanting to be there, your behavior that spills out now makes other people who are now there with you not want to be there either.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
But finding your passion is really, really important. And, you know, a lot of persons, what I'll say, and this is mentioned in my book, Born to Win, Be Confident, Believe in You. The thing
You
about
have a
it
book? Nobody told me this. When did this happen?
like, my book was published in 2018.
I think so.
Okay,
Yes.
well, we have to have you back on and talk about the book.
Why not?
Why not?
Not a problem at all, Reese.
Is the book on Amazon?
Yes, the book is on Amazon.
The book
You
is
can
on
just-
Amazon. Okay, well, after the interview, at the very least, I will have a link to the book in the description bar.
Okay,
You
great.
have
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Oh,
Want
yeah.
to Be Confident, Believe in You by Sally and Bharath.
But sorry, I interrupted you with my exclamation. You were saying, like your book says. And there's a copy of the book right in the background. Sally's about her business. Huh? I love it.
I say all the time, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
I love it. She's like, and my book is right here. I love it.
Yes, you know, like my book said, you need to dream, and you need to dream. You need to identify your steps, understand where you are now, where you want to be, and if that is the path that you want to go down, you must have your roadmap to success. Not just do, because what happens is that a lot of people do things that people tell them to do. I want you to be this. I want you to be that. But what do you really want to be? So jumping into any profession, you know, you really have to ask yourself, is this what I really want? Do I love it? You know?
Absolutely. I feel you 100%. Now, the business and the business model that you described to me earlier sounds like a lot of what you normally would have done would have been in person and in groups at workplaces.
Yes.
So I'm curious to find out, how has your business been impacted by the pandemic?
So as regards to the pandemic, what I will first say is that, you know, the pandemic, obviously for all of us, was out of our control. And in a snapshot of what the pandemic did is that it really, you know, sped up our process in terms of trying to think outside of the box and really making moves to adapt to the time. It affected obviously the way in which we communicated with our clients, because most times Sally, if she's doing like a coaching session, it would be done physically in an intimate session, obviously, right? And we had to transition those sessions and serving our clients to more of a virtual platform 100%. Before virtual platforms was just by the way, if you could meet, etc. But it has become more mainstream, and it really encouraged us to really streamline other areas of our lives so that we're able to be as efficient as possible work-wise. You see, a lot of people, they take for granted all of the little aspects of their life surrounding their career or workplace and how that affects the way how they do their work. So we had to make sure and try and be on top of everything, personal finances, the way how we spend money, how much negativity we actually entertain when talking to persons who we're not really doing business with, who we are associating with. All these different things play a big role. What we listen to before we go to sleep at night, when we wake up in the morning, what we eat, all these different things play a big role, and not taking anything for granted, So we really had to kind of I shouldn't say micromanage, but look at things from a more microscopic level and watch how they impact each other, and make movements from that perspective.
You have to shift your priorities a lot and cut out a lot of the fluff to buckle down on your business. I can see that.
I think what it is we did as well, because I focus a lot on risk management, it's do a risk assessment on the organization, understand what threats do I face, what we can work with, what our resources are, what the financial cost is, what can be minimized. This is what a lot of people would have had to do without realizing that's what they were doing.
That's what they were doing.
In terms of challenges, we have had challenges. I won't say no, because we have persons who are used to a physical coaching session, and now they had to transition to a virtual, which many of the clients was like, no, I don't want any virtual. And because of that, you would have lost clients, but then you also gained clients, because we had a number of people who would have had depression issues, different challenges that they were facing. So you have the phones ringing off and all those different things. The good thing is that prior to the pandemic and having to go virtual, I have been doing virtual training.
Understood.
Because we do mastermind trainings, which are done virtually. And we have done training or coaching with persons in Dubai, persons in Nigeria, lots of other countries. So
the learning curve wasn't as high, wasn't as steep for you?
Not
really.
In that regard, I will say no, but what I will say, and going back to cutting out the fluff, sometimes, for example, let's say because you're actually running a media company, right? And in running a media company, you may have certain skill sets that you are good at, and for certain things that maybe you're not so good at, you may normally want to delegate other individuals who are proficient in that to bring your product to an acceptable level.
Absolutely.
And for us, we had to adapt, and we had to say, okay, well, is that I'm good in this, and okay, well, not to worry about that. We had to begin to start learning things that are outside our normal scope, because eventually going forward, anything could happen, and you really need to be able to have a basic proficiency.
Absolutely.
At a couple areas that you're able to make the pivots and adjustments that you need to make, So
I think
that's another thing.
What I would say is that COVID-19, as bad as it may have been, has been a blessing at the same time, because you really learned you discovered things about yourself that you never knew, skill sets you built, and it really took your organization to different levels, and it allowed you
if you adapted and went to that level. I will say to you, Sally, I agree with you so much, because yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and the thing is, I felt guilty saying that, because I do know that it is a horrible, terrible disease that has ravaged the planet. For the friend of mine at the time, we were just talking about the impacts that people being inside for as long as they were had on the environment and just the replenishing of yeah. So while I would never ever discredit the fact that it has been a terrible experience globally, I have to agree with you that there have been blessings for some of us in the midst of the negative.
Yes. Yeah. And it's my mantra. Always look on the bright side of life.
I love it.
You can't control the pandemic, but you can control what comes out for you, for your business. You can either choose to fail or choose to be a success. If you have 24 hours to live, how do you want to live that remaining 24 hours? And that's the same principle I apply to my business every day during that pandemic. Is it going to be a success or is it going to be a failure? And you keep on doing the best that you can be. And I mean, today we are here. We have grown so much in different aspects, in marketing, in media. Wow.
Rihanna's grown a lot too. You know, Rihanna is not just a doctor, he's an artist. You know, Rihanna's an artist.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I will say to you, the person I interviewed before you, like, she, like me, wears many hats, and I was like, oh, a lot of different things she does in her introduction. She's like, all eyes me? so similar, like, as you were saying, I was like, you know, Chris is right, but like, when somebody else has it, like, it just sounds weird, like, but I accept it and I own it. Thank you, Chris.
I think we all need to accept it because, you know, we are all artists, and, you know, an artist is somebody who creates what they want, and we all have that opportunity to create what we want.
Yeah.
It just
and you're truly phenomenal.
We're all
from
just
what I have heard.
On different masterpieces. Now today, you guys are gonna help us to give the viewers practice how to set and achieve their goals. All we can do is help give them the tools, and then they have to do the rest. Sally and Chris, what is tip number 1?
Well, basically it starts with dreaming big. Your dream determines your goals. Your goals map out your actions create the results, and the results is what brings that success. So you really need to recognize your dream. Dream big, add clarity to it. Use your dream to really articulate that desired future. You know, have a vivid picture. It's like every night I go to bed, when I wake up in the morning, I ask my husband, what did you dream?
Yeah.
What are your dreams?
I said no.
I didn't ask you last time, but I
I'm
asked you this morning. You know, and everything starts with a dream. Now, after your dream, tip number 2 would be go right ahead.
Well, tip number 2 is about defining your reality. I think sometimes this is a hard thing for a lot of individuals to do. It's really about you really being honest with yourself and knowing exactly where you stand. And this is a bonus without emotion, because some people, when it is that they try to assess, you know, where they are in reality, they put a lot of negative energy and emotion behind it, and it actually kills their whole goal setting and executing process. It's really important for you to be real, but also put any emotions and past memories into it. It's just where you are, but it doesn't say, okay, well, I'm not going to continue. It's just a matter of saying, okay, well, I know where I am, so I know the gap between where I want to go and where I am right now, and I know the things that I need to do in order to get there. It's really important.
And what I will add to that is that you have to start by being honest with yourself, examining your strengths, your weaknesses, your experiences, your education, your resources. And a lot of people take those things for granted, you know?
Because you have to be realistic about where you are to begin moving to where you want to be.
Correct. Now, as you would know, I'm coached by John Maxwell. And some of the questions that he would have asked is, how great a distance will I have to travel? What do I have working for me right now? What must I overcome? Because we have a lot of limiting beliefs. What will it cost to make this trip? making that true doesn't mean giving up sleep. What am I willing to sacrifice? You know, because a lot of us want to achieve our goal, but we don't want to make the sacrifice.
I understand that 100%.
Then our third tip would be to really articulate a statement of purpose. But you have to not just think it, but you have to write it down and make sure that purpose reflects your dreams, your values, and your convictions in a way that really inspires you to really stay that course.
Yeah, I think like knowing your core values is a big thing, because it actually sets the boundaries as to, you know, what directions you're actually setting goals in. You know, I think that's a big thing that's really important. You know, knowing your core values.
And what is tip number 4?
Tip number 4 would be to define your goals. You have to write down your goals based on your dream, and in a way that you have to personalize it. You can't make someone else's dream your dream. You have to write down your goals based on your dreams. So it has to be personal, specific, has to be achievable, measurable, and time sensitive. Because we can have a goal, but we set no time for it, so it can take a lifetime to achieve.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because
again,
without that timeline, there's no pressure. There's no, because you could always just put it off.
And then what tends to happen is that when you put off something today,
Coronavirus!
it's highly likely, bless you, it's highly likely that you would actually go and do it later on. Because every day it's like, not right now. But if you put a time limit to it, then things tend to happen. The other things that, you know, and John Maxwell always tells us, he says goals need to be personal to be effective. A common mistake that many people make is to identify something outside of their control. Like a lot of people say, I want to win the lottery. But let's be realistic. That is not within your control. You know, you have no control over these things.
Absolutely.
So to be legitimate, your goal must be within your power to achieve or accomplish personally. So you have to be honest with yourself. And then the last tip that I'll give is that you need to take action. Tip number 5, you need to take action, because a lot of us have goals. We dream, but then we don't take action. And then you just call those people dreamers, because that's all they're doing. Like a German poet, novelist, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, I think, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, once said, thinking is easy, but taking action is difficult. And to put one's thoughts into action is the most difficult thing in the world. So a lot of us, we have dreams, we want to achieve different things, but we are not taking action to actually make it happen.
Well, what I would suggest is, whatever goal you have written down, what you should do is try to break down that goal into maybe 3 or 4 action steps that you should be taking on a daily or weekly basis in order to reach that goal. So, for example, let's say if somebody wants to get fitter, as an example. If you want to get fitter, or if you want a more aesthetic or you want a different build, you have to have an idea, okay, well, you know, what's the number of workouts you need to be doing per week? You need to know, okay, well, what is my diet going to be like? Should I calorie counting or should I not be calorie counting? How often do I calorie count? Okay, well, what is my recovery schedule like? Who should I be following in order to keep me encouraged or kind of keep me accountable? Because we tend to use social media for so many different things, but we can use social media to our advantage. You know, follow those individuals who are interested in the things that we want in life. It's a way that, you know, you're really, you know, creating that environment, you know, for the goal. Another tip that I would give as well too is you really have to kind of, it's part of defining your reality, but you need to know, okay, well, who am I? Who do I need to become in order to achieve my goals? I think a lot of times we want to do things, we want to achieve goals, but we're not really there on the subconscious level. We're not
absolutely
that person who, you know, is really going to be able to attract those things. So
absolutely.
A big thing for most people, I mean, including myself, because it's on a lot of different levels, right, is resilience. You know, in order to achieve your goals, you need to be resilient. That a lot of people, you know, after 2 weeks in January, they tend to kind of ease up on the goals, and you know, they need to be much more of a resilient individual. You need to be more consistent. Is it like, okay, well, I need to become more consistent? Are there things or people that I need to say no to right now in order to give me the mental, emotional, and physical space to really create the life that I want? There are certain things that you need to ask yourself, okay, well, what do I need? Who do I need to become in order so that I'm most able to really execute the action steps that I need to do in order to achieve my goal, you know? So I think those things are really important.
And the thing is, Chris, I'll say to you, what I really, really love that just happened is earlier today I was speaking to a businesswoman on a similar tangent. She was saying that people are always praying that God bless them and this, bless them and that, bless them and the other. And she's like, but are you ready though? Like, are you ready to receive that blessing? And what have you done to put yourself in place to receive that blessing? And I think that is if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the same vein that your last point there was on, in terms of like, very often there are these things that we want and we don't acknowledge that to get those things, we may have to also be a different person. I'm not saying change yourself completely, but in terms of things like discipline, time management, and sacrifice, if those weren't things that were originally part of who you are and where you were, they very well might be in order to get you to that place that you want to be. So I absolutely love that, and I received that on a personal level, and I hope that resonated with my viewers as much as it did with you. With me. But I believe it resonated with you too, since you said it. Clearly you would have to have felt it for it to come out of you. Thank you guys so much for those tips. I hope that it helps the viewers. I have one more question for you guys before we run off. Now, before I had raised these, you and Sally used to do a live Facebook show. We have not seen you guys, I'm putting you on the spot, we have not seen you guys do a live show in a while. Can we expect new episodes from you guys in 2021?
We definitely can. I personally took a break from social media because I am wrapping up my doctorate, and that was very demanding. But we should be back on in the month of February.
When you wrap up your stuff, we can organize to put the energy and the effort into it.
Yes.
I love that. Which means that very soon we're going to have 2 Dr. Buffongs in the house.
Yeah, basically, yes.
I love that.
It's a lot of sacrifice, and doing social media. I mean, I do my marketing for my company, so now I also already have a marketing manager. It takes a lot, and while I love doing the Facebook lives, I also had to sacrifice and ask myself, okay, what am I willing to give up to make this happen right now, because there's a deadline. So, you know, God's will, possibly the ending of February, March, we would be able to jump back into the life. I won't make promise now and say in the month of February, because we still have a lot of things trying to get done.
Understood. Well, looking forward to it, and looking forward to chatting with you guys again. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us, Rian. Really do appreciate it.
It was absolutely lovely, Chris. And like with everybody else that's come on, I appreciate how ready and willing you were when I reached out.
Of course. Better prepared than prepared.
And prepared. Ready, willing, and prepared. Yeah? So down in the description bar below, I'll put all the different links where people can reach Sally, Chris, and the business.
Sure.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the businesses. Sorry, Sally, Chris, and the businesses. Where your place, Rion. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. And I can't wait to catch you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.